So it seems like everything is shaping up for WrestleMania except for one person, and it starts at the top of this episode of Monday Night Raw, the March 2nd, 2026 edition of So, and we start with what is left of the Vision. Logan Paul, Austin Theory, Paul Heyman. That is all that's left of the Vision. The only person that is still in the Vision that originally started is Paul Heyman, and he's not even a wrestler. Paul Heyman talks about how Seth Rollins stole the show at Elimination Chamber because of the stunt he pulled, ruining Logan Paul's chances at going to WrestleMania to face Drew McIntyre. He gives the mic to Austin Theory, and Austin Theory sucks on the mic. I can't remember a promo from him, but he just absolutely sucks on the mic right here. Logan then gets the mic from Austin Theory. He starts going off saying how he eliminated 3 people. He deserves to be in WrestleMania, this, that, and the other. Adam Pearce comes out and says, yeah, you need to calm down. It doesn't matter if Seth's here or not. He can't do anything. He is not able to compete because he is still on the injury list. It is at that point a masked man comes out, and the security that came out with Adam Pearce goes straight after that guy. Every single bit of security he brought out goes straight for that one guy. Then a second one comes out that Logan Paul chases off. Then a third comes out that Austin Theory then chases down. A fourth comes down the ramp, and Paul Heyman is stuck in the ring by himself like, oh please don't do anything to me, don't hurt me. And then a fifth masked man comes down, and this one happens to be Seth Rollins carrying a chair, and he hits Paul Heyman square in the back with that steel chair. Then he runs to the corner, stomps him just for good measure. When we come back from commercial break, we see Paul Heyman is in the back of an ambulance. His face is all bloodied and everything. Austin Theory, Logan Paul, they finally show up. They're like, oh my goodness, what happened? They're freaking out and everything. A car pulls up to the side of the ambulance, and Jimmy Uso pops out. Austin Theory comes to the side, and Jimmy starts beating the crap out of him. I don't know what happened to Logan Paul, because he doesn't even show up, if I remember right. And then once Jimmy is done beating up Austin Theory, he goes to the driver of the ambulance, who is LA Knight, and he just drives off with Paul Heyman in the back. I'm assuming Logan Paul's in there with him, but I know for a fact Paul Heyman's in the back of that ambulance, and we don't know what happens after that because they don't tell us. And this is what I want to put my main focus on when I was talking about I don't know what their WrestleMania plans are. Like, what are Logan Paul and Austin Theory going to be doing at Mania? Are they going to be facing the Usos because this whole Jimmy thing? And, LA Knight, what is he doing? Is he going to be facing the Vision? Is it going to be Jimmy and LA Knight versus the Vision? What is Seth Rollins doing? He's still all in this, Vision business. There's only 2 Vision people left that wrestle. I guess you could throw Paul Heyman in there, but I don't think he's going to be very good in the ring. So this leads me to believe that the WWE Championship match is going to be a multi-man match. You got to do something with Seth. You have to do something with LA Knight. You don't really have to do anything with the Vision. You can just throw him into something, or you just not have him on Mania. I don't think if we didn't have them on Mania, it wouldn't hurt anything, because it's not like Bronson Reed's out and Braun Breaker's out for who knows how long. I think at this point the Vision is just done, especially after Seth Rollins did what he did tonight. I don't know, maybe you guys could tell me in the comments below, what are they doing with Seth? What are they doing with the Vision? Where is this going with WrestleMania? 2 months away? A little bit less than 2 months away? Right after this, we get our very first match of the night in Gunther versus Dragon Lee. Gunther comes out to the ring during his entrance and isn't even able to make it down the ramp because Dragon Lee attacks him. He starts beating the crap out of Gunther, but Gunther is eventually able to get him when Dragon Lee goes to run at him, and he throws him over himself into the Timekeeper's area. We get a lot of Gunther offense, but Dragon Lee is able to get a suicide dive attempt onto Gunther, which is just shattered with a chop. He then powerbombs him onto the ring apron, then picks him back up and powerbombs him onto the announcer's table. These two put on a fantastic match. Dragon Lee is able to come back on the outside. He hits him with, what is it called? Operation Dragon or something like that. I can't remember what his finisher is, but he hits him with a sunset flip and then like Operation Dragon. Gunther almost gets counted out to a count of 10. He gets to 9, gets back in the ring, and then Dragon Lee is able to knock him back out, goes for another suicide attempt, and this time hits, throwing Gunther into the announcer's table. But eventually the match does end with Gunther choking out Dragon Lee because, and only because, he ripped off Dragon Lee's mask. I think this is a great match. These guys have great chemistry together. I'm going to assume this is also our WrestleMania match, but I don't know if that's the right choice because it looked like Dragon Lee was going to win here. But Gunther, in the end, does just demolish him, especially when he's just prone to ripping off the mask whenever he so pleases. We then get the Kabuki Warriors yelling at each other in the back. Well, it's more Asuka yelling at Kairi as usual. And this time, Asuka yells at Kairi so badly that she is just blank. She has no emotion. She doesn't say anything. AJ Lee appears next to Kairi saying, and she even like waves her hand in front of her face, tries to get something out of Kairi. And Kairi doesn't even respond to anything. That is until Asuka, of course, yells Kairi, and she moseys on off stage. This then leads to AJ Lee coming out to the ring, telling everybody that Becky Lynch is behind her and she's looking forward to facing any woman in the back, giving a shot to anybody. She wants to be a fighting champion, just like CM Punk. I guess this is cool. I don't know who she's going to fight that would be viable, but hey, good for you, AJ Lee. I don't really care for this AJ Lee run so far, but their match was good. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed their match. I just don't know where they're going to go with it. I don't see it going anywhere good because Maxine, Natty, Becky again. There's a little bit. I'll get into a little bit of something later on, but as of right now, it's just kind of up in the air, and I'm not really too feeling this Intercontinental Championship run by AJ Lee. I know it just started, but I'm already not feeling it. Next, we get El Grande Americano meeting up with Penta in the backstage area, and he tells Penta that when you win the Intercontinental Championship tonight, I want to be the first one in line for you against you for the championship. And then, of course, the other El Grande Americano and the Americanos, I think is what they're actually called. I kept calling them the Bravo Brothers, but the Americanos come out. They start yelling at each other, and it's basically said that it'll be El Grande Americano, the OG, versus Rayo Americano. Yeah, it's one of the new Americanos lackeys. So this is more of like, they do a lot of good stuff in this match, but there was also a lot of comedy in this match. You have Bravo Americano, that's why I called them the Bravo Brothers. The Bravo Americano, he's dancing, Rayo's dancing, even the OG El Grande Americano's dancing, and it makes Rayo kick the steel stairs, and he pretends, like he broke his foot. This was a funny match, but it was also a really good match, and I don't know how to explain it. This match, actually, pretty much every match tonight was really good. There was like 3 or 4 matches. I can't really remember. I have it in my notes, but 3 or 4 matches. Everything was pretty much good tonight. And of course, because with new Americano, all and his lackeys being there, they have to interfere. New Americano winds up yelling at the OG. Rayo dives onto him, and then the OG goes to rip off Rayo's mask during the match. Bravo doesn't take too kindly to this, and then the OG Americano goes to rip off Bravo's mask. It just turns into everything just dissolves into trying to rip off masks. Because even the new Americano and the OG tries to rip off the new Americano's mask at one point. And because of all this interference that is going on, the OG Americano is able to win, beating Rayo. And I'm assuming this will eventually lead to a mask versus mask match of the OG Americano and the new Americano at WrestleMania. I love what they're doing here with the Americanos. I don't ever want it to end. I know it eventually has to, because eventually we'll all get sick and tired of it, but I wish we could just hold out a little longer, a little past Mania. But we all know it's going to happen at Mania. Then we hear Liv Morgan talk about Stephanie Vaquer, how Stephanie was right. Liv Morgan had everything when she was coming up through WWE, the best doctors, the best trainers, the best training facilities. And what did Liv Morgan say? She said that Stephanie Vaquer was living in like mud huts, fly-infested areas. I can't remember exactly what she said. I'm pretty sure she said mud huts, though. I'm pretty sure she said that. I'm looking forward to Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Vaquer, but I want them face-to-face more often. I like it better when they're face-to-face. Don't get me wrong, this promo was good, but it also doesn't make sense for Liv Morgan because Stephanie Vaquer made her cry because of what she said. And now she's all, oh yeah, you were right, but this is how I'm going to flip it and make it good for me. It just seems like a weird character diversion from where we were going. You know what I mean? Then we go to the Judgment Day clubhouse where it's Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, and Liv suggests to Raquel that because she didn't win at Elimination Chamber, maybe she should go after AJ Lee and her new Intercontinental Championship. And Raquel thinks this is a splendid idea. Finn meets up with JD and Dom, and Finn says he's at peace. He lost on his own. It was his own fault. It wasn't due to interference. It wasn't due to, Judgment Day messing up. It was because Finn Balor wasn't the better wrestler that night, and he is at peace with that. Dom then says, hey JD, hey Finn, you're going to be out there to help me win the Intercontinental Championship and beat Penta tonight. And JD's like, yeah, we'll be out there for you. Yeah, no problem. And Finn looks at both of them and goes, no, Dom, you need to do this by yourself. We can't be helping you. And then Dom flips it. He goes, no. I mean, once I beat Penta, you'll be out there to celebrate with me, right? JD's like, yeah, of course. Finn hesitantly says, yeah, we'll be out there to celebrate. And then they have like a big group hug. They're the Judgment Day, and they're always a big, happy family. Next, we get Rusev being absolutely tired of Obafemi and hearing about Obafemi. He calls out Obafemi, and he wants to fight tonight. Obafemi actually comes out. He goes to the ring, grabs a mic. He says, you want to fight? Well, let's go right now. Now, there's no ref, but they go out, and they are socking the crap out of each other in the middle of the ring. Obafemi takes over a little bit. Rusev takes over a little bit, but eventually Obafemi gets the better of Rusev and knocks him out of the ring. And Michael Cole says Rusev should be embarrassed. Now, I don't think Rusev should be embarrassed. It's Obafemi we're talking about here. It's not like Rusev got beat up by Danhausen. It's Obafemi. But then it's made official that next week it will be a match between Rusev and Obafemi. So I'm looking forward to that. I haven't looked forward to a match by Rusev in probably since he was in AEW, if I'm being honest. Bayley and Lyra are in the back, and they're talking about, like, hey, we don't have the tag team championships. Neither of us won the Rumble. Neither of us were in the Chamber. We're not even going to Mania to fight for a championship. What should we do? Lyra looks at Bayley and says, hey, you should go after AJ Lee and her Intercontinental Championship. And Bayley's like, you think so? And Lyra's like, yeah, you should go talk to Adam Pearce right now and see if you can make it official. Which is weird because I understand they're a tag team and you want to see your tag team partner do well, but shouldn't Lyra also want the championship? She's not fighting for anything, so why not? And Bayley kind of brings this up. Bayley's like, well, why don't you also fight for it? Come on, both of us, we'll go to Adam Pearce's office. And so they do. They go to Adam Pearce's office. They go to knock on the door, and Io Sky emerges from Adam Pearce's office. They kind of just look all each other up and down. Io Sky leaves. Lyra and Bayley walk in. And I believe it was made official that next week on Monday Night Raw, it'll be Raquel versus Io versus Bayley versus Lyra to see who's the number one contender for AJ Lee's Intercontinental Championship. We get Austin Theory versus Jimmy Uso, and Jimmy Uso takes off during this match. Austin Theory doesn't really get a lot of offense here. Eventually, it all goes to the outside. He gets Austin Theory onto the announce table. Jimmy goes to jump off of the turnbuckle onto the announce table, but Logan Paul is there to save the day, or at least save Austin Theory. For a brief second, that is until Jey Uso comes out. They beat each other up. Jimmy and Jey are victorious at the end of this. And this leads me to believe that it's going to be Jimmy and Jey Uso versus Austin Theory and Logan Paul at WrestleMania, which wouldn't be the worst match in the world if I'm being honest. It's just storyline-wise would not make sense. We were posing the Vision to be this monster main event heel faction, and now they're nothing. Next, we get Adam Pearce and the debuting on Monday Night Raw, Danhausen, in the backstage area. Danhausen has a list of demands that he hands over to Adam Pearce. It's soggy. He asks why it's soggy. Danhausen's like, it fell in the toilet. I like Danhausen. I like what they did here with him. His debut, that's a different story. Here, I like what they're doing with Danhausen. The Judgment Day, Dom is getting ready for his match. He's heading towards the ring, so it's Dom, Finn, and JD. Adam Pearce is like, hey, Judgment Day, have you met Danhausen? He's right here. You should come meet Danhausen. Adam Pearce leaves via left stage, and we get a little bit of introduction between Danhausen and the Judgment Day. Danhausen insinuates that he wants one of the titles that Dom is holding, and Dom looks at Danhausen and says, you will never touch one of these titles. Danhausen then curses Dominik Mysterio. The Judgment Day are kind of like, what was that? Danhausen disappears, and so it is, and so it shall be, the comedic gold that is Danhausen. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky come out to the stage. They talk about how they don't have the tag team titles anymore, how Rhea is going on to WrestleMania to face Jade Cargill, how happy Io Sky is for her. Rhea can't wait to see what Io's going to do because Rhea will be going to SmackDown for the time being for her feud with Jade Cargill. And Rhea says she's going to go to WrestleMania to beat Jade Cargill and become the new Women's WWE Champion. But beforehand, she is going to be going to Friday Night SmackDown and meet Jade face to face. Next, for our main event, we have Penta versus Dominik Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship with JD and Finn at ringside. They're not standing around. They're literally sitting in those little office chairs right next to the announcer's table. They're not announcing or anything. They're just sitting right there. We get a cool DDT spot where Dom kind of jumps from the turnbuckle onto Penta in a DDT style on the outside apron of the ring, where he slams Penta's face right into the apron. It was really cool. And then we get another spot in the Timekeepers area. They've been really loving the Timekeepers area for these past few months in WWE. But Dom flies out. Him and Penta go into the Timekeepers area. It's absolutely insane. Penta eventually starts getting the better of Dom inside the ring. And Dom is able to get just a brief second where Penta's out for a second. He looks at JD and Finn, and he starts going, get the hammer, get the hammer. The Timekeeper's hammer for the bell. And JD obliges. He walks on over to the Timekeeper's area, picks up the hammer, starts walking back towards the ring, and Finn stops him. Finn says, no, Dom has to do this on his own. He can't have the hammer. You can't be doing this. Penta then, if I remember right, he hits Dom, flies out. No. He flies out, hits JD and Finn, knocking them out, then runs in and hits Dom with a kick, goes in, and I believe he hits him with a Mexican Destroyer, and then 1, 2, 3. Penta is our new Intercontinental Champion. I'm so happy to see Penta as the Intercontinental Champion. I can't wait to see his first entrance with the belt. I just know it's going to be absolutely amazing. Now, I just hope they can book him correctly. It just seems like they haven't been booking their champions very strongly lately. Io Sky last year, Jade Cargill, Julia, either of the tag team division, even the women's tag team title, literally any tag team belt. It just seems like if it's not any of the world titles on the men's side, they just don't care about building up their characters. Even Stephanie Vaquer, who's having like a decent run as the world women's champion, she's barely doing anything either. So if you're not Drew or CM Punk, it just seems like they do not care about you as champion. So please, WWE, give Penta a good Intercontinental run. Please, I'm begging you. Roman Reigns comes out, and not too soon after, CM Punk comes out to further this feud towards WrestleMania. CM Punk jokingly, really jokingly acknowledges the tribal chief. And he tells Roman that he is basically having to carry this feud, WWE, and even Roman Reigns, all the way to Mania because Roman never wants to show up on television. And then the discussion kind of dissolves going back into the Shield because if I remember right, they said that in this building that they were at tonight is where the Shield debuted with CM Punk. And CM Punk goes, without me, you, Roman, wouldn't even be here. And Roman rebuttals like, you didn't even pick me. You didn't even want me as part of the Shield, basically saying that he picked Seth, he picked Dean, but he did not pick Roman. And Punk basically says, yeah, you're right. I didn't pick you, but you picked me. And I think that's very telling, you know? Like CM Punk, it's not like CM Punk was trying to diss Roman or anything when he didn't pick him. He just saw more star power in others, right? When the powers that be chose Roman. And Punk is just like, okay, yeah, no problem. Whereas Roman is picking Punk because he has to. He wants the belt. He wants to beat up CM Punk for all the crap, for over a decade, all the crap he said. Everything. And then Roman goes on to say that he's going to send CM Punk on a retirement tour just like they did John Cena. And when they're done with him, they're going to send him down to NXT to train all the little idiots that are over there on NXT. And when they come up to the main roster, Roman Reigns will be waiting there, still champion, waiting to smash every single person that Punk trains in NXT to the main roster. CM Punk says, how are you going to do that when you can't win anything without your family? Where are your little Samoan goblins? That's not me saying that. That's CM Punk saying that. They start talking about tweets also because Roman tweeted the other night that Elimination Chamber was the fans seemed tired and that Punk looked tired. I think this was kind of dumb because we all know CM Punk doesn't know what people actually say about him. He more cares about the actions that people do to him. And Punk ends this entire thing saying that he won't... What did he say exactly? He said he won't beat Roman down at Mania. He will bury him. He didn't just say he would bury him. He said he will bury him next to his father. That is a crazy line. That is so out in left field. Anyways, this has got me ready for them at Mania. I just hope we see more of this. I don't want to go another 3 weeks without seeing Punk and Roman have some kind of something. You know, I don't want them to do like how they did Liv Morgan with Stephanie Vaquer, where she's just doing a filmed thing that you hope Stephanie sees. I want to see them in the ring. I want to see them in the backstage area. I want to see them talking to Adam Pearce. I want to see more, and I hope we get more, but I am excited. I would say the only thing I didn't even really dislike it about this episode of Raw, but I just don't see the direction of The Vision, Seth Rollins, and others like Jimmy and Jay, LA Knight. I wish they had more of a... I don't want too much of a concrete, of where they're going towards Mania, but at least leave me some breadcrumbs. I guess they did, because they're kind of insinuating that Seth Rollins and maybe a Logan Paul or Austin Theory at Mania. But I want a little bit more concrete of what the storyline is here going into Mania. Otherwise, I really enjoyed this episode. I guess the women's Intercontinental thing, I need to see who wins and what the story is going to be. Then I can have a more informed opinion on it. But I'm thinking like 3.5 stars out of 5 for this Raw. There was, you know what? 4 stars out of 5. I really like this episode. There wasn't too much to dislike here, in my opinion. Anyways, that is my review of the March 2nd, 2026 edition of Monday Night Raw. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought about everything. Where do you think they're going with this whole Vision storyline? And what do you feel about CM Punk versus Roman Reigns? Do you want more? Do you want less? Let me know. And while you're down there, if you're not subscribed, you should go ahead and subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, if you're watching this long, I'm sure you did, you might as well hit the like button. And let's go back over to the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can know every single time this channel uploads. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you again next time.